hard like Santan.
Hello, good evening, good morning. Whenever you're watching or listening to this, it's another New Spurs Order pod under the Touchline Fracas banner. I'll be your host again tonight, X-Pac, and I'll be joined today once again by Tops, aka Booker T. Brother, how are you?
Hello. Yeah, very well, mate. Very well. Just happy to be back on. Didn't think it'd be me and you again, but actually, it's always quite nice when it's two of us. So.
Yeah, it's especially nice when the energy is good, and obviously we're coming off a win, not doing I guess maybe Crisis Patreon pods, but yeah, be sure to check out if you haven't. It is free. It is free, so we're good like that. And our team are apparently good like that as well. So we're just coming off a win against Palace away from home in a game we usually struggle. 4-0 win. Going into this game, there's obviously so much crisis talk amongst like Conte and the board and stuff, and maybe and consciously, I'm not even sure, but Conte probably somehow managed to take a lot of the heat off the players going into this game. You didn't really hear talk in the press conferences about some of the glaring errors the players have made. It was always about Conte's future and, you know, is Levy going to spend some fucking money and stuff like that? Like, that's literally what most of the talk was about. Of course, people were getting onto the players on Twitter and stuff, but, you know, it was mostly justified, to be fair. And we're going into this game low on confidence, and with Bissouma suspended as well, we're thinking, okay, we're going to be light in midfield. I fully expected Skip to start, but did you expect Conte to go with that verse of Hill starting again after what was? I thought he struggled against Villa despite a few little bright moments.
Yeah, I thought he struggled against Villa as well, to be honest with you. I mean, I still feel like the jury is out there, but I think I'm more on the side that I still think I need to see more from him. Just because when he first came, I don't want to get into it, but when he first came, I thought he was a very unique type of player. Kind of gave me old school vibes, sticks to the touchline, very good dribbler, one-on-one player, likes to take people on, likes to really good on the turn, very good crosser of the ball. And honestly, my biggest issue with him was just how slight he was, and I feel like it's still even now, it's still really a bit of an issue. Last night, although he played really well in lots of 50-50s and moments when I felt if he was a bit stronger, he'd come out of that better. He just didn't. But to be honest with you, in my head, I was like, if Kulusevski's not fit, then I would actually prefer if we just went for like a 3-5-2 by using Huijsen, Skip, and actually Sarr, just because I think Conte seems to like Sarr, and like we'll get into Sarr obviously during the pod, but I kind of thought maybe with, in my opinion, what feels like three different type of midfielders, maybe he would do that. But actually, to my surprise, he put his faith in Bryan Hill again, and to be honest with you, it was absolutely justified. I thought he performed really well yesterday.
Yeah, we did. As well, again, was surprised Hill started. Like, I fully thought it would just make sense to have Perisic in the front line, and we've at least got a presence there, and then Cess would just come in at left wing back, and it should be a good change. I mean, obviously Perisic is good enough to play in the forward line for World Cup semi-finalists. So again, he's someone that's got creative quality. He seems to get beaten quite a lot, Perisic, defensively as well. So yeah, just keeping him up the pitch to allow him to be creative just made sense to me. But yeah, he started Hill to his credit. Sorry, you were going to say?
I really don't know what we ever saw in Perisic defensively, because the guy can't defend for shit.
And this is what I mean. Like, I fear like Crystal Palace have ballers as well, right? I didn't see him having a good night defensively at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, I just thought Sessegnon was probably more suited to
No,
dealing with the likes of Eze if
please
he was to drop in those right pockets, and
don't
Elise
mention
as
that.
well. If Zaha end up going out to the right as well, no, who knows? It just made sense to me, but it was a brave decision to be fair. Um, Again, one I didn't expect him to make. It was one of a couple of brave decisions he made, and yeah, it paid off. Like, how did
Hmm.
you kind of see like the first? I mean, it was obviously a good start from Spurs, but how did you kind of break down like the first 20, 25 minutes from us?
I thought it was positive. Like got to the ground with Tobes, and I wasn't like particularly like enthusiastic about the team or enthusiastic about how we were going to perform, just because
Nobody thought we were going to win.
just because of the way that we've been playing recently. But actually, I wouldn't say we came out the gates, but we started the game positively. We started the game on the front foot. There were some really nice combinations between Hill and Hill was really good yesterday in the sense that he stayed quite close to Doherty yesterday. So there were lots of nice combinations with those two, and obviously as well with either Hoiberg and Skip. So I felt like we were getting into nice areas. We almost looked like there were moments where we were trying to even get in behind through Son. Kane was dropping deep, taking the role of hoisting really, and kind of trying to help us move the ball out wide or right down through the middle of the Palace defence. So I felt like the first 15 minutes were, first 15, 20 minutes, in my opinion, they were positive, and actually it gave me a good feeling that we could probably get something from the game. But again, I think I remembered after the 20, 25 minutes which club I support. So
Yeah, we saw a lot of hallmarks of this team, which were playing so well last season between that kind of February May period. It was just a case of again just going back to basics and being brave with it for me. Like there were so many just quick, snappy decisions we were making on the ball, and it just made so much sense, and it allowed us to get into a rhythm so much quicker. Like there would be a couple of like clumsy slash what like easy turnovers from us, but at the same time, like I was saying from the Aston Villa game, I think our counter press is better, especially with Romero in there now, so we can kind of take those risks with faith that we'll win the ball back a bit quicker. Again, it's
agreed.
something that we've been practicing in this kind of second preseason as well. Yeah, quick snappy decisions. We got Brian Hill into the game early as well. Like I felt like Kane was trusting him early, Doherty was trusting him early in build up, and um, Hill being the unique player he was, and where he had an initial couple of good cameos last season, or at the start of last season, it was coming off the left. Where now I feel like game by game, he's just getting more used to where he is on the pitch on that right hand side, which isn't his preferred position, and he's just able to know how to essentially just dribble better on that side.
Yeah,
Um,
like one thing I really liked as well, actually, and this is not even just the first half, but throughout the game, was like he really is quite good at the link stuff. He knows what's the best way to describe it. I feel like he has good spatial awareness as a footballer, especially because he plays in an area where there's going to be lots of high risk passes and lots of
mm,
tackles. So he constantly is looking. His eyes are constantly moving. He kind of knows what's around him. So if he has time to receive the ball on the turn, he does it. If he doesn't have much time and has to make a one time pass, he does it quite well. If he has to just like maybe just do a touch quickly because he might be getting pressed, he does it quite well. So like from a technical perspective, I actually think what he's shown, it's probably always been there, but he just maybe hasn't had either the confidence or even just the game time to actually show it. And to be honest with you, I don't know, like maybe as well, in my opinion, Palace look at like Spurs as being players of like Kane and Son's quality as being the ones that can really hurt them, and maybe they wouldn't say disrespected Hill, but maybe they didn't give him enough time and attention that they thought that he probably required, and actually that allowed him to play quite freely and quite confidently actually yesterday.
Yeah, I don't think they would have feared him going into the game, to be fair. Like, um, obviously with it being his unpreferred position as well, like Selhurst Park, it's a smaller pitch
Hmm.
as well. And like you just said, he was trusted quite early with the ball, even in like tighter spaces when he was being pressed, that we would just fizz the ball in. And this went for the rest of the team, to be fair. We were just trusting each other a lot quicker in tighter spaces, quicker. Um, and especially Hill. And he got the beating of Joel Ward and Jeffrey Schlupp quite regularly. Um,
Yeah,
once you manage to get change out of these players across the course of a game, then you're able to do other things, which we'll get into. Um, Oliver Skip obviously started well as well. There was a couple of, I'd say, weaker challenges from him, challenges which I wouldn't necessarily associate with Skip. Like, he's very good in his duels,
yeah,
but he started well. He's a very good tempo setter, and he still gave some pretty good protection to our back four and, well, our back three, back five, again, whatever you want to call it. But
yeah.
what would you? How would you kind of break down Harry Kane's start to the game? Because this is a Harry Kane which I've been kind of pining to see for so long, and I almost thought he was kind of lost in this extra instruction from Conte just to stay forward. But yeah,
Yeah,
it
no,
was more back to this old Kane for me.
yeah, I was really impressed with him yesterday. I felt like in the first half he was doing the link stuff well. My only my only one thing about the stuff that he does with the link play is that he does this really good thing sometimes where when he gets decent enough separation, he takes a touch. He literally scans immediately for the pass, and if the pass is on, I find that he actually takes too many touches, and because he takes too many touches, you often find him being the one that is the latest into the box. And actually, I think I would prefer if he's going to do that link stuff where he gets the ball, somewhere in the middle or the attacking third, he gives it and he goes immediately because he does actually have a burst to get back into the box quickly. But I find
Yeah.
sometimes when he does that link stuff, I feel like he takes maybe one or two like touches too late, and then sometimes the pass might not get off, or he might get crowded by a number of guys. It's that's my only qualm with
Did you
like
not feel like he was getting into the box most of the time though? After
he
he,
was. I felt like in the second. I felt like in the second half he
because
definitely
he does
was.
have a tendency to obviously not use these bursts. I mean, I think he might be limited to the amount of bursts he can have over the course of a
Well,
game.
yeah,
But
that is absolutely true. And to be honest with you, like if you look over the course of most games, especially like yesterday anyway, he's not the one that's. It's weird when the chances fall to him in the box, he's very happy to take them. He's like very shot. He's not shot shy. He's very like good at the snapshot stuff. But I find as well that like he actually does create a lot for the other guys as well. He was the one who did the overhead pass for Son's goal. There were a couple passes that he opened up out wide to Doherty and to Perisic, which were from
mm,
him. So I felt like in terms of the all-round play that he's been giving the team, it was better yesterday. It definitely was better yesterday. And obviously, from a finishing perspective, it was. I mean, like the Spurs fans, we were literally behind him for both of the goals. And honestly, like the second finish, it was just like I like I like remember just shouting that finish was just automatic. Like he literally had one touch from the pass and just knew exactly where he was going to put it. Like,
it's
it
such a
was pretty
cash money
impressive.
position for him.
Yeah,
My only gripe with Kane when he does do that dropping in between the lines is when he does this thing where he does hold on to the ball for a bit too long. He doesn't really use his body to get that much separation or just spin to the side to almost just turn anyone that's pressing him. He'll just hold on to the ball, take too many touches, and he'll just wait for the Hollywood option. He'll
yeah,
either wait for maybe a switch out to the right hand side or a ball to Son, and it'll be that or bust. He'll have this Hollywood pass or bust kind of mentality where he's not really aware of maybe other players on the pitch, and he'll just end up giving it away. And he has done that most of the time this season when he's done that, he's given it away, and it's been quite frustrating to watch. But yeah, yesterday his decision making when it came to who he'd release to and when was really really good.
It was.
But yeah, so we're getting into, I guess, the last 20 minutes of the first half, and Palace do get back into it. I thought they played through us quite easily as well, to be honest.
I wonder why, Owen. I wonder why.
I think there was a time in the first half where the ball just ballooned up in the air. Romero was under it, and he must have just looked up and saw Salt Bay, because he completely scuffed the ball and almost conceded a clear chance. I think it was a clear chance for Palace, and then yeah, there was that chance with Zaha giving the ball to Jordan Ayew. He turned,
Yeah.
I think it was Dyer. He managed to roll Dyer a bit, and Elise was free on the right hand side for a quick release, and he would have had a pretty easy finish.
I can't believe he didn't pass to it. I still can't believe he didn't pass to it.
To be honest, I thought the shot was on for Ayew, but I just don't think he's good. I don't think he's good. I saw.
I was so annoyed as well, because at that point, Zaha became free because his ability to just run at players, like, it was so easy the way he was able to bypass, I think, Skip and Højbjerg, and then he's come inside. He's now driven at Romero, and he's kind of left Romero and fed it into Ayew. And honestly, I kept thinking, I actually thought initially that Ayew was going to maybe, like, those those dummies where you run over it and you let it like go through your legs, and it just
he can do that.
Yeah, he can do that, and I actually thought, oh, that's what he's going to do. But when I seen him control it, I thought, okay, this guy's got to hit it basically anywhere that's either side of the goal, because Hugo was literally snap bang in the middle of the goal, and he shot it right. I mean, to be fair, Hugo,
it was a good save. Actually,
it was a good save. To be fair, actually, like, he got his right hand down pretty quickly, like, considering the power of the shot. But in hindsight, and then I remember when I watched Match of the Day when I got home, I remember thinking, I'm pretty sure I saw Zaha like flailing his hands or something, and then it actually looked even worse.
He literally walked over to him, and then
it looked even worse on Match of the Day.
It looked like a meme.
Yeah, so I mean, hey, listen, it's not us. It's, we just need a little bit of luck, man, because 9 games in a row, I don't know if I could do it. Or was it 10 games in a row? I don't know if I could do another.
10 games in a row.
Yeah, we conceded. So, to be honest, anything. I mean, to be fair, Hugo was all right yesterday as well, actually. Made some good saves. So.
Yeah, let's move straight on to that then, because that's a pretty good segue. Because going into halftime, it was a case of, like, I don't know about you, but I wasn't that worried at halftime. Like, I was thinking, okay, as long as we can get back onto the front foot and get back into that rhythm we did at the start of the game, I think we'll be fine, because we looked so dangerous. And lo and behold, this cross we've seen actually a lot this season, where Perisic just clips it to that back post. We feel like we haven't reaped the rewards of that quick enough. But now I think now it's become such an automation now, where it's just been a matter of time before it actually comes off. And yeah, I thought we started the half really well.
It's really frustrating as well, Aaron, that, because like that sort of combination is really one that, like, Conte can literally point to and be like, listen, if you have a player of decent enough quality and you have enough automation and you create a decent enough overload, your fullback should be in an area where he's able to affect the game like that on multiple occasions. And what's so frustrating is that even yesterday, there were multiple occasions where I remember himself and Doherty getting into really promising areas, and those final balls were okay. Weren't great, weren't amazing, but okay. But obviously as well, like, the guy's got 9 assists, and that sort of position where he's found himself on that left sort of upper part of the field, it's cash money, because he's always going to have an overload. You're always going to have either Kane or another attacker that's going to be in the box waiting to receive it. And to be honest with you, like, the minute he went up, I thought that's got to be at least a shot on target. So when I saw it nestled in, I was like, fucking hell, it's good header.
Yeah, as soon as Perisic put that ball in, you could just see Doherty and Kane attacking the post.
Yeah,
Guita, I'm not sure if I've just butchered the keeper's name or not, but Guita, didn't look like he knew where he was, and he
Yeah,
was
no.
beaten the second the ball came over into the box. You just knew he was beaten, and you knew
Yeah.
Kane was favourite, and that was a nice little tap at the back post, and lo and behold, we managed to take the lead for the first time in what was 10 games. An insane stat, especially for our team, which does almost rely on getting that first goal to get the best out of Conte's structure.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just important that the goal was scored first, just from a mentality perspective, and also to shut down any sort of effort that Palace wanted to kind of give in that second half. So yeah, I was happy, and actually, that was a good moment as well to score, because almost, I think the following 15 or 16 minutes, we really just did our best to try and capitalize, and ended up scoring 3 more in the end, which was really positive.
Right. Yeah, I wanted to just get on to Kane's second goal as well. This is putting a cherry on the top for what was again a really good performance, because he's got a good understanding of the game state at this point, because when he receives the ball in the area he did, again, good link up with Kane,
Hmm.
he's faced with two players, and these are two players that he's been getting the better of over the course of the game. So when he receives the ball, he's got a bit of space. All he has to do is just drop a little shoulder, and he's giving himself now a bit of these defenders, they fear him now, right? So they don't
Hmm.
they're standing off him in case he beats him again. He just gives him that little bit of extra space just to play that pass. A simple but really, really good pass. Again, it's just
Yeah,
been getting back to basics for us, and it was just a good slide rule into Kane for what was a cash money position for him to finish.
yeah. Well, this is it as well. Me and Tobes and a few others that were there, we were saying yesterday that, like, at the back end of that first half, excuse me, it just looked like we just lacked the basics. Everything seemed to not be coming off, and then all of a sudden in the second half, a little bit more intensity. Um, uh, we were looking for many sort of moments to try and stretch them, and Hill was one of the reasons that we were doing that. So that pass that he did was, like you said, it was a very very smart pass, because he knew that if he's able to make that pass quickly, it might open up it up for Kane, for a shooting opportunity. And Kane, he's going to give you a shot immediately, which he absolutely did. To be honest with you, he didn't even give the defenders or the keeper time to basically settle, which I think was
Mm.
just, it was excellent.
Yeah, I think Mark Gahey in particular had a horrible time against Kane. I was
Yeah,
like this is a defender who you've kind of earmarked on the pod and as a club as well. They seem to be keen on him, and yeah, it was a torrid time for him.
yeah,
Bless him and Anderson. Um, Moving forward, I thought we again just looked dangerous from then on until the end of the game. Conte again, and this is the other brave decision I thought he made. Like I was expecting to see Pape Sarr in this game, but I didn't expect him to sub him on at 2-0. That early on in the game either. It's quite rare for him to make a sub before like the 75th minute or so. But yeah,
yeah.
Pape Sarr coming on 66th minute.
Really,
Um,
yeah,
Really, really solid performance. I've got
yeah.
to say.
I mean, really, like, oh, do you know what? I need to see. I need to see some more. I need to see some more. But
Same.
I did see some more. But, like, I was looking at it yesterday, and I was like, I know what I'm going to get from Skip, right? And if he's playing in that sixth role, I know he's going to be very safe. He's going to get on the ball and recycle it effectively. He's going to be good in the tackle. He's going to be a good presser. He's probably going to get a yellow card in most games, which is absolutely fine. And
Yeah.
he's going to put himself about, right. And the one thing I've always said about Skip, and Conte's also said it as well, is that I feel like he needs to just improve the amount that he gets on the ball, and also what he does with the ball. So actually, yesterday I didn't think Skip did badly, but I looked at him differently, because I was like, I've not seen you play in a while, and you're probably just building confidence in yourself. and also just familiarity playing again in that double pivot with Højbjerg. Now, when Sarr came on, one of the things that I was massively like also just surprised about was that he's actually like he's a bit of a physical specimen. You know, he's quite a tall, even though he's young, he's quite tall. And the one thing I really liked about him was something that I think is missing in our midfield, and it's just pure athleticism. Like there were times yesterday when I saw that the Kure guy, whilst he's not like amazing on the ball, he's actually quite quick, he's very strong, and he really gives them like you really know what you're getting from him. So when Sarr came on, I loved that he was firstly trying to get onto the ball. And I mean, literally every opportunity that he could, he was trying to get on the ball. If it was a 1-2, he was doing it. If it was carrying into space, he was doing it. If it was challenging, he was doing it. The second thing I really liked about him was he was sprinting always to make himself free. So the minute he gave a pass, he was sprinting to try and find another option and be a passing option, which I really liked. And also the thing I liked about him was that like he really does carry a, I wouldn't say P and P, but definitely at least a power sort of attribute in terms of his ability, because there were lots of moments where he was in 50-50 duels, he won them. There were moments where he was muscling guys off the ball, he was winning the ball back, and then he was also driving up the pitch, which I think in terms of players that we have currently, I just feel like that's maybe just a little bit of the profile that we don't have. You know, this real athleticism in midfield. I feel like we kind of don't have that with Højbjerg. Whilst Bentancur is tenacious and Skip's tenacious, we don't really have that proper heavy athleticism. Someone who's a willing, like hard physical runner. So I was really impressed, and I hope actually this weekend he gets a start against Portsmouth. I would really like to see what he could do. What he could do. I actually think as well, like looking from the 2 games I've seen him play, I feel like there's the potential here for him to be like I know he's young, to be a very good 6. I wouldn't say elite 6, but I think there's like attributes in his game that makes me think, you know what, if he hones some of these skills he already has, he could, you know, he could really do something as a 6, I think.
Yeah, he can. I can see that. I can see him being an 8 as well. I think he can be whatever he kind of chooses to, whatever he chooses to be in the end. And yeah, there was a moment towards the end of the game where he obviously uses awareness and composure and just general like ability to be press resistant and like be good in duels. Like he almost got I was gonna say another thing which would have been a direct pause then, but there was 2 players who were just pressing him really high. Can't remember who they were, and he managed to turn that pressure for one and then managed to win a duel through another one and just came out with the ball. And it almost looked seamless to him. And there was a moment actually when he came on, and you may have not noticed this on Match of the Day. I'm not sure if they showed it, but he was on the touchline as he's about to come on. Like you can see him, like he's trying not to smile. He's trying not to smile, but he's just got that like slight smirk on his face, like he knows he's gonna come on and just boss it. And there was a few moments where he'd done something wrong in the game. He's just smiling throughout. It's just like, okay, cool. If you're playing football, the smile on your face and you're mixing it, and again, what's usually a very hard ground for Spurs as well, and it's still a very competitive game, even with the game state as it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he looks like he belongs at this level. It's
Yeah, you know, and like sometimes you kind of give young players a bit of a hard time for not really wanting to express themselves. They want to do things nice and simple and not make any mistakes. But actually, like you said, I don't think he doesn't look like out of his. I don't think he looks out of his depth. I think he very much he's definitely there physically. But I think I just need to see more in terms of different game states. And also just what kind of roles he can provide, whether it's a 6, whether it's a roaming 6, whether it's a running 8, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, that he was a big positive. He was a big positive yesterday, in my opinion.
brilliant. We'll get into some more positives, shall we? And to make it 3-0, again, Kane, very good, carrying the ball off the left-hand side, manages to get it over to Son, who manages to squirm the ball to Doherty for a decent finish. Gaeta probably could have done better, to be honest. But listen, I'll take it. Doherty, again, great throughout, proper wing-back performance. And then you got Son, who finally scores in another Premier League game to make it 4. After missing a one-on-one not long before that. Again, after Kane brilliantly put him in. What did you make of Son's performance as a whole?
I thought it was mixed, to be honest, Owen. I thought it was mixed. I think a lot of people know how I feel about Son at this point. I thought it was mixed. I felt like there were lots of moments in the first half. Actually, the first half wasn't a great half, if I'm going to be honest. I could see that there were moments that he was trying to make these last man runs. But the execution of passes, lots of the time, it wasn't happening. Just felt like everything this guy was doing it just wasn't coming off. He was getting pressed in areas, like he's not confident with his back to goal. Even some of like his crosses and final balls, I don't think were very good. It's weird. There's two things about his game that really annoys me at the moment. I feel like, one, he is not tenacious at all. If there's a 50-50, this brother is pulling out paws. he ain't going in for nothing. No money, no riches could convince this guy to go for any 50-50s, which really annoys me, because I think, like, in a time of football where loads of attackers are getting yellow cards for trying to press and trying to win, Son never wins any challenges and never ever goes in for 50-50s. So that annoys me. And the second thing that annoys me is that, like, the one aspect of his technical game that I used to think he used to be quite good at was his dribbling and his ability to take on players. And now he just doesn't want to do that. Like, the minute he has the opportunity to go at someone literally one-on-one with pace in stride, I feel that, like, he either decides to turn back or he doesn't do it confidently enough. And obviously, Son is supposed to be like an over XG finisher, but there were moments yesterday when I was like, this doesn't even look like the guy that I know. There was a chance even that he went through on goal, which actually was ended up offside. 9 times out of 10, last season before, he puts that away. The finish just straight at Gaeta. And to be fair, he improved in the second half. He was way more active. He was trying to get on the end of things. And actually, he took his goal quite well, even though there's a slight deflection of Gehi. But actually, I think for him, again, just to get the monkey off his back, I think it was just important that he was able to get that goal in a win as well. And actually, the fans got behind him, and he seemed to reciprocate that after his goal and at full time as well. So,
yeah, I think that's a very fair summary of him. It was just, for me, even if you're gonna fail quite a lot at it, just going back to basics again, just trying to be on the end of moves instead of being that player in build up. It's just a simple dynamic for us, and it's just glad that we've managed to somewhat make it click again in a game where, do you know what, before Sarr came in, I don't think our midfield was that good either. But again, we managed to get through with a 4-0 win in spite of that. We talk a lot and every single week on this pod on Højbjerg, so I don't really feel the need to do it this week.
Oh, good.
I think we've got another podcast before the North London derby as well. But yeah, it's good that we've actually, again, somewhat managed to make the automations of Conte click again before what's going to be a tough run of games. And before we get into that, obviously the window's open. There's been a lot of talk about certain signings, but with some of the displays we saw yesterday, would you keep Sarr and Hill? Are they a part of this team now, especially the latter, who a lot of people obviously want us to sign a backup to Kulusevski?
Would I keep Sarr and Hill?
Because these are players which everyone at the start of the window inevitably thought were going to go out on loan, but now...
Yeah. I would honestly use this half of the season as an opportunity to really make your idea on them, in my opinion. I feel like whilst the club is always pushing for us to, use this this mantra of buying young, high potential players, these are two players who I actually think can push first team players, in my opinion. I feel like nowadays, lots of younger players, they often just need to play with confidence. A lot of the time they want to play, a lot of the time they may not have been given the opportunity, but actually if you just instill some confidence in them, I think that will be enough to carry them through as first team players. In the Champions League, probably not, in my opinion. Probably not. But against lower level Premier League teams and the odd game that is against sort of top opposition where maybe we've had suspensions or things like this, I would absolutely, I don't think there's any harm in it. But I think it should be this part of the season. I feel like if it doesn't work for Hill between now and the end of the season, I would actually look to just move him on. Whereas for Sarr, say it doesn't really work for him between now and the end of the season, I would look at loaning him. But at least we know that we have this type of player, because like I said, I still feel his profile of player is what I think we've been missing. We're missing like a running six, a running eight, a real like high energy, like physical sort of central midfielder. I mean,
At this
again,
rate, he could end up taking Basuma's spot.
well, this is
Like,
it, isn't it? This is it. You
he's
see,
been
because
rising it.
we're looking at a team who, what I think is also important as well, is for us to not manage our expectations, but we've got to be clear on what we were trying to do now for the rest of the season. Are we trying to push to end as high as possible? Are we happy to stay with top four? Will we like try and push or put our eggs in that Champions League run? I think if we are clear on what we're doing in terms of our direction for the rest of the season, that probably best defines how we're going to go about what we're going to do in the transfer window, and also these players. Because just as literally as far as last week, we were being told Hill, Spence, Tanganga, Sarr, these are all players that are up for either sale or loan in this window. And then 2 games down the line, both of them now look like they could be players that could be involved in the first team,
For sure. Yeah, they're just players that seem to be going game by game. Marlon from the South Stand TV says he wants to keep Sarr and loan Hill. It's fair. Obviously, I can see that, but at the same time, I don't see us getting a player of sufficient quality as someone who can make more of an impact than Hill in the January transfer market. Unfortunately,
unless we spend like big money, in my opinion, but I don't see us doing that. So,
and Madison, Kudus, yeah, there's players there, man. But again, they'd have to get used to Conte's automations at the same time, so it's a weird one. Yeah, I was just saying, who would you expect to then start against Portsmouth? Because we've got to kind of manage their squad with the North London derby coming soon up after that. Yeah, who else would you expect to see play?
North London derby, Davies will return, definitely. Tanganga will return. I imagine Royale returns. I would like to see Skip and Sarr. I would like to see Skip and Sarr start in midfield, and maybe a front three of Hill, Son, and White, but depending on whether Kulusevski returns. I feel like
I think we're just going to rest Kulusevski for the North London derby if possible.
Yeah, I mean, that would be kind of important to do as well. After if Kane can be a sub or a bench option, yeah, sure, but I feel like he also needs to be rested, so he's fully ready for the following week. I don't know much about Portsmouth, to be honest with you. All I remember just is that's where Dane Scarlett went.
They've just sacked their manager, I think.
Oh, have they? Yeah, I feel like we just need to just. I mean, these games can be seen sometimes as a bit of a scalp, but I think you just got to be professional. You know, you're at home. The crowd are going to be expecting a win. They're going to be fighting for their lives to try and get a result against us. So I think we just got to be professional, and just show the extra bit of quality that we apparently have.
Yeah, I mean the 12th in League One. I agree. It was a nice touch at the end of the Palace game that Harvey White got his debut. I fully expect him to play against Portsmouth as well. He was out on loan to
He was there, yeah. Actually, that's true.
last season or the season before. I think it was the season before actually. Yeah. I imagine we'll probably keep the likes of Kane on the bench just in case. Again, like someone we need to rest before the North London derby, but we will probably end up seeing him come on in the second half at some point. And yeah, the FA Cup. It would be nice to try and test how far we can go in there. Like I know we have to probably commit our eggs to like certain baskets, and we don't have obviously quite as much as kind of strength in depth as we would like or as Conte would like. So yeah, I still think we can do well in the FA Cup. Like at least get to even a semi-final seems within realistic expectations to me. So yeah, Portsmouth should be a formality, and then I see. Hopefully, we can get a result in the North London derby. Just like a quick prediction as well, just for how we're looking in our next kind of run of fixtures. Because someone off the New Spurs Order account kind of tweeted like, "Oh, how many points do you expect us to get from certain games?"
Yeah.
Obviously, Man City twice comes up in some of these games. So our next kind of 5 Premier League game or home games, even Arsenal's not home games, just home games, but our next kind of run of fixtures include Arsenal, City twice, West Ham, and Chelsea.
Yeah.
How would you see us doing? Because I think Eric Dyer might have a little something for Haaland, but who knows?
That's very nasty of you, man. That's very nasty of you, bro. I'm gonna need you to redact that comment immediately, bro.
What? Who knows? I was watching him tonight, to be fair, and yeah, Haaland does look quite sharp.
He does.
Chelsea were able to keep him at bay.
At home, I don't know. I think the last 5 games at home we've conceded more than 2. We've conceded 2 or more, so I'm not particularly confident. My only saving grace is that North London derby. Generally, these games form doesn't mean anything, and I still stand by that. I feel like them Woolwich man are in a good moment, but I feel like we have the ability to cause some problems for them. I feel like I don't feel like we should play in our what's the term, like in ourselves. We should just really go at them, because they're a team who have actually been able to smell blood, and they've got lots of players in good sort of form at the moment that could hurt us. But I feel like Kane is in a very good form at the moment. 15 league goals, and he always bags against them. Son's very good at bagging against them. I feel like Kulu would be huge for us to have against them. Romero
should be back.
Romero didn't play last season's win at home against them as well. So I feel like there's going to be lots of big jewels and guys who I think, irrespective of how we've been playing, will want to just step up and perform in that sort of big game. City, I mean, we have a really funny relationship with Man City. home and away. I can't really tell at the moment where they're at, because I've watched them last week against Everton. Wasn't really that impressed, and then I watched them tonight, and I thought that they've got so much quality. They can afford to change it so easily, so quickly, and guys who can come on and affect the game. So I'm not really holding onto those games too closely, to be honest with you. I like to kind of see City games as just a free hit, just generally, just generally, because I think
Free points, you mean?
yeah, 19 at this point.
I think we'll win one of those games.
They don't seem to like playing us, and I don't think Pep can really put his finger on why.
I can't even put my finger on why.
And West Ham, I'm not bothered at West Ham. They're in such a terrible moment. It's quietly laughable, but I'm not really thinking about that, to be honest with you. I'm actually kind of worried about Fulham away after Arsenal.
Okay.
Yeah, Fulham away. That's a funny one. It's been a long time since we've been at Craven Cottage, and had some mixed results there when we have gone there, and they seem to be playing. They seem to be playing quite well at the moment. Good result last week against Southampton, and then this week they had a really good result against Leicester away. I feel like they're Silva's got them playing decent stuff. Mitchell is always scoring, but I think for now, honestly, at this point, the way that we're playing and our form there's such a misdirection in our form. I'm just seeing each game as game to game, honestly, Aaron. I don't, until I see us being able to pull a number of results together, I'm not going to really try and take anything, because, I thought Brentford away, we weren't terrible, but I didn't expect the performance to be so bad against Villa. And then, weirdly, the performance was better against Palace, even though I didn't think it was a 4-0 game, but we were extremely, extremely clinical. So, and it's funny as well, how this narrative goes, because Brentford was okay, Villa was very poor, Conte came out with all these comments, and then we beat Palace away 4-0 yesterday, and I don't hear anything. I don't see anything on social media. I don't hear anything. I don't hear anything in the media. Nothing. I'm just like, okay then. So we just forgotten about that then, have we? Brilliant. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so... All right then.
No,
On to Arsenal.
We
Do you know what I mean?
stay up next point, especially for centre backs.
Well, exactly.
Right
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, yeah, that was another point. Obviously, against Palace, Emerson Royale was booed on, which I thought was harsh, because, yeah, again, I think we spoke about this just before we recorded, and you mentioned it, and obviously it's not Emerson Royale's fault that he's being played over someone who's better than him at right wing back, and he's the one getting booed for it. It's a tad harsh, man, but hopefully it kind of sends a message to the board, because Levy was obviously present for the game against Palace. You in the crowd probably booing him, and fair enough. Or cheering against him even. That's not doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Yeah, he'll probably play against Portsmouth as well. So hopefully he gets a good reception. In addition to that, I forgot to mention, like, I hope we at least see the likes of Will Langshire, Jamie Donnelly, and Alfie Devine in the squad, and we can play well enough to bring them on and give them sufficient minutes that
First 10 minutes,
exceed
Agreed.
like 5 minutes of injury time.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like, it's kind of nice this third round FA Cup weekend, because the draws we've had recently, the last few years, have been quite favourable. So actually, you can kind of play like squads that are a bit more reduced in terms of quality, I suppose, or more so teams that have more prominent number of squad players actually. So it would be good as well. I mean, these kind of guys who are really kind of prominent in the 23s, like you said, Donnelly, White, Alfie Devine, and obviously White, who it feels like has been promoted as a first team player anyway. So yeah, getting these guys, minutes is important. Sometimes it's a bit of a hard one, because you don't want to you don't want to stagnate these guys' developments, which is the name of the game, because I don't think we've really had that great development, and I don't think our pathway to first team is great at Spurs. But actually, any times that you can get these kind of young guys in, if they're good enough, I've always been an advocate. I think if you're young and you are good enough, you generally stand the test of time. If you get the opportunity, you either sink or you swim, and very quickly, I think it's quite easy to see sometimes as well. We've just been very fortunate that we've had players who have done so. When Delhi came on, Winks went on loan, Skip went on loan and came back. Winks, when he was given the opportunity in the team, Kane, when he was given the opportunity in the team. So generally, I think if you're young and you're good enough, yes, you deserve the opportunity, and if you take the opportunity, go for it. But I also think it's harsh when you're not given the opportunity.
Exactly. Well, there you go. That wraps up this week's pod, I think. A nice, quick and snappy one from us this evening, or again in the morning, depending on when you're listening. Tops, Booker T, thank you for joining me again. And onwards and upwards to the FA Cup. Come on, you Spurs.